Hello and welcome to the 30th episode of my Love Machine podcast. Now, if I had some special sound effects, I would play a little trumpet or a fanfare there or some birthday candles being blown out, whatever you have to do. I might do that. At the moment, I've no idea how to do that. I'm still learning, even after 30 episodes. Maybe after my 100th episode, I'll be capable of doing that. So I've got something very special for you all today. So thank you, first of all, to everyone that has listened to some of my, or in fact, all of my podcasts so far. I hope you've been enjoying them. And thank you so much again for everyone that's reached out to me to tell me what you're enjoying about them, what they've done to your life already, which is quite amazing. I've had some amazing feedback. Now, today, like I said to you, it's something a bit different. I'm going to be doing what I'm famous for, which is dating coaching. So rather than interviewing an expert today, I've got a lovely lady who I've been speaking to before, she's got an amazing dating history and dating stories to share. And she'll be sharing them with us today. And I'll be giving her some of my thoughts and dating coaching advice. So please do listen in. And I hope you enjoy this. So Holly Rebecca Hughes, welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Good. Now, we had the chat before a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? About what's been going on. You told me some amazing things that have happened to you in your dating life. So we're going to come on to them very shortly. But before we do that, can you just tell everyone that's listening a bit about yourself, who you are and what's been going on with you so far?
Okay, so a little bit of a brief history. Started off working in magazine editing. I'm 28 at the moment, and then COVID completely ruined that. So the last couple of months, I've been trying some new angles with property, and I just landed actually a new job as an account executive within a digital marketing agency. So this year, like for everyone, has been a lot of changes. I just bought my first property. So that coincided with getting a new job as well. And yeah, dating has been turbulent from day one of my dating history, really. I don't know if I've got the knack for going for the wrong people, but we'll see. I guess you can advise me on that.
We're going to find out. And I will say to you what I say to all my dating coaching clients. I'm here to help you. I'm on your side. If I ask you some questions, it's not about me picking things apart or saying you've made mistakes, because we haven't made mistakes. We've just done things in life and had opportunities that have taught us to be who we are now. And they've led us to the day now. So I don't believe in focusing on the past. I believe in focusing what we can do now to make sure that your future is the way you want it to be. But can I just say, first of all, you've achieved so much. And you've got a new job, you bought your first property, you're only 28 years old. So obviously things are going well for you in other parts of your life.
Yeah, and it was weird actually, because yesterday I was talking to a friend and we were talking about our flaws. And they said, what do you think your flaws are? And I said, I don't think I'm selfish enough. Now, that, especially when it comes to dating, I'm not selfish enough. But because I am getting better at it, this year has seen a lot of positive changes for myself. So I just need to sort of like transfer those skills into relationships because I'm too caring, if that makes sense.
Would you say that's you let people get away with murder that you're dating?
Yes and no, because when someone does something to annoy me, and it does take a lot to annoy me, I tell them straight away, XYZ, this is why you've annoyed me, in a calm way, because I don't like arguing. But the tendency is that the flaws that annoy me in someone tend to be built in and they can't tend to change them. But no, I don't let them get away with murder, but I'm too generous with my time.
Can you explain more? Do you mean that you're always available for them?
I guess so, yeah. So if they say, Hall, like, do you want to do something tonight? Even if I'm busy, I'll try and make it work. Or if they want to call me, I'm always there if they need me. But I'm not sure if it would ever be reciprocated. And that's my issue. I'm fed up of spending time on users.
Right. So if you're seeing somebody and you've already got plans with somebody else, you would drop those plans to make time for the person that you are dating?
It depends if the plans I already had were booked in well in advance, because I don't let my friends down. I wouldn't flake on my friends, but if I'm really excited by a guy, then even if I'm busy in work, then I'll try and fit it in, let's say, even though it's going to be to the detriment of myself the day after, because I'm going to be super tired.
Okay, people do that all the time. The problem with doing that is that if you're too available, then it's not a special thing if you do drop your plans one time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're too available, guys like to do a bit of chasing. They want to be pursuing something that isn't always available to be pursued. So if you had other plans, I would say to you, even if you haven't got other plans, then you make other plans up every now and again. So if your evening is, you've just seen them for a few days, and then your evening is, oh, I'm watching Netflix tonight, having a bath and chilling out for myself.
Yeah.
This is what we all seem to do nowadays during these lockdown periods. Then even if that happens, then just saying no every now and again makes them think, oh, maybe I shouldn't ask her at the very last second. And it makes guys think, well, I realize that her time is precious, and therefore I'm going to give her more notice. A lot of people do that. And a lot of guys make half plans as well. They say, well, how about we catch up next week or go for a direct date next week? And they say, great. How about Wednesday? Wonderful. And then Tuesday night has come and you haven't heard from them, no idea what's happening. And you reach out to them and say, what's happening? Are we still meeting? Have you ever done that before?
Yes. And if they ask me something last minute, then I'll say no, because I don't like to be used. But coming back to, you say guys like to chase.
Yep.
Okay. So back in January of this year, I dated someone. So I'm 28. He is 33. He's project manager within a construction company. So we went on 10 dates.
Okay.
And
was he your boss?
No.
Okay, right, okay, just checking.
No. No, he lives in Cardiff, I live in Swansea. But on the 10th date, and only on the 10th date, we were intimate. Okay. After that moment, I didn't hear anything from him.
Right.
Now that annoyed the hell out of me, because it was almost like I was an accomplishment or like a trophy, and then it was done.
Yeah.
So what would you say was the thoughts going through his mind? Because it really annoyed me.
Of course it would do. Let's break that down. Go back to the beginning. How long was this? You had 10 dates with him.
Yeah.
But over how long?
I would say 7-8 weeks.
Okay. So that's about normal. That's a good ratio.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will count this. Say, well, I saw him every day for 10 days. Therefore, we've had 10 dates. That happens a lot, particularly over these strange times. People have accelerated things very quickly.
Yeah.
I don't really believe if a guy is genuinely interested in you or a long-term relationship, that if you wait 3 dates, 10 dates, 30 dates, it makes any real difference.
Mm-hmm.
Either they're into you or they're not into you. That is the sad reality there. When you had these dates, was he spending money on you? Was he doing nice things? Was it just going for drinks? What was happening?
It was dinner and drinks, and he paid. I paid sometimes as well. But he would call me a lot, because I guess he just enjoyed my opinion on things, whether work, family, or personally related. So he was quite full on. And then I took a step back. So I guess it was a surprise in a way.
Yeah. So you got intimate, you had a nice time, and that was the last thing you heard from him completely?
Yeah. I think, that was it, actually.
So what happened? Did you text him at all?
No.
Okay. This is interesting now. Because what?
Because I thought, okay, if I don't hear from him, then it's quite evident. I thought, I'm not going to reach out.
Yeah. Let's play devil's advocate here. Let's supposing he thought the same thing.
No. Because it went from messaging me all the time, ringing me all the time, to nothing. And he still follows me on Instagram.
You still let him follow you?
Yeah, well, I don't have a private account.
You
Probably
can
should.
block him.
I could, but it doesn't really bother me because on my Instagram account, I don't really post that many personal things.
Yeah.
It's more like photography and stuff like that. But he's
Is
still engaging, and that's just weird.
That's the thing. He's still engaging with you, still liking and commenting on there.
Yeah, but just no contact from him.
Guys do that all the time. It's a bizarre thing. Sometimes what happens is he might have been caught up in the moment, and he really did like you, and he thought he liked you, and at the end of it, he just got cold feet at the end of it. This is what's called love bombing. Have you heard of this?
I don't think it was that.
No?
I don't think it was that, because I think he had an agenda.
Yeah. What, to get you into bed, and that was the agenda?
I think so, yeah. And also because he was on reflection, he was quite a narcissist.
They're the ones that love bomb, though, the narcissist.
Are they?
Yeah. That's part of it. It's the attention's all about them, making them feel good, them feel in the moment. And they throw it back on you as a way of getting love back to themselves. And this has happened a lot to a lot of people. This is not a unique thing that you're telling me. This happens even before lockdown. This was happening to people all the time.
Yeah.
That guys who show a lot of interest in somebody, and the second they get intimate, that's it, game over. The interest is lost. And I think this is really caused by guys who just aren't ready for the full commitment that they say that they are. That's it. You look for the signs. This guy's spending time on me, he's getting to know me and all the rest of it. When he finally gets what he wants, then that's the thing. People think that's a closed door, that's the end of it. But it's not necessarily. Why should it be? He could have spent more time with you, couldn't he? He could have carried on seeing you, carried on becoming intimate with you. And before you know it, he's off dating other people and you wouldn't know about this. So it's probably better in some ways that you haven't heard from him, because you probably feel worse if you discovered that he was still dating you and dating other women at the same time.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Did you ever have any conversations about things being serious or becoming official?
No, it was too soon for that. And I was still assessing him as a person. So no.
So it was too soon for that, but it wasn't too soon to get intimate. Okay.
True. Yeah, very true.
You see my point here?
I do.
Again, because I'm not judgmental on this. I'm not just making a point that I think the time when you become intimate is the time when you've pretty much decided this person is someone you want to see on a long-term basis. That's generally my rule for this. Otherwise, what is the point? If you want to just have a bit of fun at some point, then so you do what you want to do. One of the biggest regrets of women over 40 is that they haven't done this enough.
Really?
Yeah, end up in long-term marriages, relationships. Do you know what? I wish I'd done more dating, had more fun.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean if the right guy comes along that you should just jump into bed with them or for the sake of it. Obviously, you didn't. You've had 10 dates. You thought this was going places, didn't you? You thought this was it. He misled you to some degree. But I do think what you can learn from this is that some guys will tell you everything you want to hear.
Yeah.
And all it really is just to get you into bed. As a challenge to themselves, can you do this or not? That's it. But supposing you'd stopped at date 9 and you hadn't gone into bed with him, would this have carried on? Would he gone to date 20? How patient would he have been?
I don't know. I mean, I think he would have kept trying. Because he was, I think he would have let's do something. Yeah. Just as like a prize, basically, to feed his ego or something. I don't know.
That's what they do. They just need the attention. They crave the attention.
Yeah.
And when they get that, they think, well, I've got to go on to the next buzz now. It's the same with people that use a lot of dating apps. It can be very, very addictive. I don't know if you've used any dating apps. Probably have, I guess. And what happens is people get a buzz. They get the adrenaline rush when they get a little hit. They're designed like fruit machines. If you have the sound on, it makes a little ring, little alarm rings, a little bell rings and tells you you've got a match, just like a fruit machine. And it stimulates the brain in the same way as getting a jackpot. And they have to get this. They have to get the attention to feel that they're valid and they're worthy of all these things that they want. They have to get onto the next one. And it's a very sad thing. And it just means he wasn't the right guy. And it also means none of this is important at this point at all. Because ultimately, you had a bit of fun and that was good. That was it. And the best thing is you've saved yourself entering a relationship with a full-blown narcissist who would have done this to you at some point anyway. So you've had a narrow escape, really, I would say.
Yeah.
It brings me back onto my other question. I sort of hinted at this before. Were you seeing anybody else when you were dating him?
No, simply because I didn't have the time.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on any dating apps at that moment. So it just happened unexpectedly, I guess. So I wasn't even looking for anything, but I thought, okay, he seems intelligent, seems interesting. Let's just go with the flow, see what happens. But yeah, that happened.
I would always advise when you start seeing somebody in that fashion, is that you do have other options as well. So you do go for dates with other people at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that if it doesn't work out in the early days, then you're not going to be wasting 7 weeks of your life on the wrong person.
Yeah.
You're not going to be looking at your phone the whole time, wondering why haven't they called you, which is what happened to you at the end, isn't it? When you just, yeah. So,
what I was going to say, it's almost like when you date various people all at the same time, it's a good thing because you've got a comparison as well.
Yeah.
How does this person make me feel compared to this person?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I think you're right. But with COVID, I mean, it's a bit tricky right now.
I would disagree with that. I actually wrote a post on one of my websites yesterday about this, how it's actually the best time we've ever had for dating. And I'm probably covered this quite a lot in my previous podcast, but I'll tell you just my top reasons why I think that's true. I think people haven't been able to go onto dating apps for quick hookups because they can't have quick hookups. They can't meet people for those sort of reasons now. And therefore, they can't meet people through their friends, through their work, through social activities, even singles parties anymore, or bars. So what's happened is people have spent time getting to know people on a much longer time than they would normally.
Mm-hmm.
So they're more invested in this. In 15 years, it's the busiest I've ever been. I had the most amount of clients I've ever had, and many agencies tell me the same thing that I work with. So it is generally a positive time. But people are fearful. People are thinking, how do I meet people? What do I do? And apps are being used again now. But you're in Wales right now, and I believe there's a lockdown going on, isn't there?
There is indeed. Yep. So stuck in the house, literally. Or the supermarket. Yeah. It's very exciting right now.
And you have to wear a mask in the supermarket, don't you?
Yes.
So you can't meet people in supermarkets.
No.
Here's a question. I had to write some advice for a newspaper the other day on this topic. I'm just going to ask you anyway, because why not? If you saw somebody on a dating profile and their only picture was wearing a mask, but they had really nice eyes, would you swipe them? Would you swipe away? What would you do? Would you care?
Eyes are really important to me.
Okay.
So for me, that would be enough to pique my interest. Because I think you smile through your eyes to a degree. So yeah, if someone had engaging eyes, or just like there was a softness, or just vivacious, then yeah, I would swipe yes.
But wouldn't you wonder what they're hiding if they had a mask on?
But then it adds to the intrigue a little bit.
It works if one person does it. But what I've heard is a lot of people have started doing this to give the impression they've got a social conscience. Social conscience, I should say.
But then, for me, I look at the whole picture. So what would they be wearing? What's their hair like? And from that, I kind of put a profile together in my head of the type of person that's behind the mask. So it wouldn't frighten me that they're hidden. Wouldn't
that mean, therefore, that it's a fantasy? Because when you meet them, they wouldn't be the same person that you've created in your head.
A little bit. However, I think I can gauge someone from the messages back and forth. And what I do actually on dating apps, I don't like messaging people because it's just frustrating. So like maybe we've messaged a couple of times, and to gauge how serious or their intent, I say, ring me. So then I would sort of get a vibe if they called me or even FaceTimed me. So that's how I would approach it. So then it wouldn't be so much of a shock when we first met.
That is exactly what I tell all my clients to do. Don't mess around texting all the time back and forth. Don't go onto WhatsApp, which is they've got the private number, call them on it. Get them to call you up. Yeah. If they're not serious, if they're time wasters, they're not going to be calling you at all. But what you've told me there is that the fact that you would give someone a chance is actually quite a good thing. It tells me you're quite open-minded about the person you want to meet. And it isn't just about looks.
It's really not.
It's
No.
not. But that's quite rare someone would tell me that. Because deep down, people have a certain type and they're looking for certain things. I haven't asked you the big question that I wanted to ask you before. Are you actually single at this current point in time?
Yes.
You are. Because when we spoke, you told me you had someone living with you.
Yes.
Tell me that story.
Oh my gosh. Right, how long have you got?
You knew I was going to ask this question.
Okay, do you want me to give you like a little brief history?
Give me a brief history and let's tell everyone what's happened.
So 3.5 years ago, I met someone on Tinder called Alex. He was studying in Swansea for like a semester as a PhD in engineering. And I thought, you know what, he's French, I'll meet him because it's fun to meet people from different cultures and etc. etc. So he stayed in Swansea for 3 months and we dated over that time. We didn't have any labels on it. It was just dating. I didn't know what was in his mind because his communication was so poor. But what I loved about Alex was the conversations we had. Like, I would engage fully, and for me that's rare and it's what I crave. So then he left to go back to Paris. We kept in touch a little bit. Then the year after, he invited me to Paris. So I went with the intention of just exploring Paris through a Parisian's eyes. However, we sort of like reignited all of the passion that we'd had previously. And I think it was then that he actually revealed how much he had liked me and did like me, which was a revelation. And then I left, obviously, to come back, and he was crying and I was crying. Then he moved to New York. And he said,
"Come visit me." It's quite transient, isn't he?
Yes, this is the thing.
Yeah.
So he moved to New York and he said, come and visit me. But at the time I was actually in a relationship, so it wasn't appropriate. And then a couple of weeks ago, he said, Cole, because of COVID, my contract in New York's ended. I'm moving to London. So I said, okay, you can self-isolate with me. It would be nice to see you. However, the reality of it's been very complex emotionally.
Right. So he's currently living with you now?
Yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting. And you're not actually dating him?
Well, I don't know, because I feel like I've gone from not seeing him for 2.5 years to now being like a married couple.
Okay. How long has he been living with you for?
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks. Okay, lovely. So you're quite confused about what's going on here?
Yes, to be honest. Okay.
So where are you at work now? Are you at home now?
Yeah, so because of the lockdown, I'm working from home. He's working from home.
So you're both together now in the house?
Yeah, he's upstairs, I'm downstairs.
Can you hear what I'm saying then?
No.
You've got headphones on. Okay. Just making sure of that. This is a very strange thing to be discussing somebody who's in the next room, probably with a glass to the wall, just listening, just to see what can happen. But don't worry, you can always download my podcast, the Love Machine podcast, available on iTunes and all good podcast providers. Right. So Alex is upstairs right now, and he's living with you for 2.5 weeks, and you aren't sure if you're dating or what's going on. Right, I'm going to ask you some serious questions now about this. Right, here we go. Are you sharing a bed with him at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, and you're not dating?
We haven't had that discussion. It's weird.
So in 3.5 years, you've never had that conversation about where you're going, what you're doing? Not
with him, because it's been like, I see him for a couple of months, or I see him for 4 days, or now he's living with me.
Right. What's happened here is there's no boundaries, there's no discussions, there's no limits. So as far as he's concerned, is he paying you rent for this, by the way?
A little bit.
He's making a token gesture?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
you're cooking for him, I imagine?
We share. We're
You're sharing the
literally-
chores. That's nice. So you're not like a real married couple then.
No, so last night I said, Alex, you can cook because I'm just so tired. So yeah.
And he cooked for you. Is he a good cook?
Okay.
Okay, right. So this is all just a bit of fun, really, to him at the moment. He's not had to commit to you in any way. For whatever reason over the years, 3.5 years, he has not had a reason to commit to you. He can do what he wants, go off and sees who he wants and have as much fun elsewhere. While you get on with your life, he gets on with his.
Yeah.
This is what's called a situationship. Have you heard of that phrase?
A situation what?
A situationship.
I have not.
A situationship. Okay. It's like a relationship, it's just a situation. As in, neither of you's had the conversation about where this is going and what's happening. And if he hasn't got to change his views, attitudes, or thoughts, or direction this is going, then there's absolutely no reason to. And it's unlikely that he will. If you say to him now, Alex, we need to have a chat. What is this? What's going on? He'll just say to you, well, I'm just enjoying it how it is. I thought it is what it is. And let's just keep on having fun.
I think if I had that conversation, he would say, I don't know. Same
thing. He doesn't know. He's not going to give you the answer that you want to hear. So actually, that's a bit of a statement to make. I'm assuming what you'd really like him to say is, Holly, I love you. I want to be with you. Is that what you want to hear?
If you'd asked me a week and a half ago, yes.
But now you're sick of him.
No. But if you're asking me today, I think the reality is that his priority number one is him. His priority number two is his job. And I feel like, I may be wrong, but I feel like I would be putting more effort into a relationship than he would. So for that reason, I'm trying to say to myself, Paul, you deserve better, perhaps, in terms of someone's effort. So I'm still assessing like my thoughts on him as well.
Is he romantic towards you?
To a degree. Yeah, to a degree.
Give me an example.
Well, to be honest, we laugh a lot together.
That's not romance, that's just friends.
It's not no, true.
I want you to go deeper. Tell me.
Okay, so we'll be lying on the sofa and I'll lie on him and he'll like hold me while we're watching a film, hold hands, stuff like that.
Okay.
As romantic as you can be in the same house.
You should be more romantic. It just worries me a lot here that he's made no real effort over 3.5 years, and you're the one that's always done the chasing. You're the one that's been to Paris. You're the one that invited him to come and stay with you. He's got a really easy life, this guy, isn't he, this Alex?
I know.
And he's French and he can't cook. That doesn't sound great to me. I thought all the French could cook.
I know. This is the problem. I think that over the past 3.5 years, my emotions with him have been a roller coaster. It's almost like love, hate, love, hate, love, hate. Yeah. Because he'll do something and I'll think, you know what, I deserve better than that. And then I'll start dating other people, but I always compare them to him. Yeah. I always compare conversations because when I speak to him, I light up. And for me, that's like so important to be mentally stimulated.
Yes.
So as of yet, nobody has come close to that. But does that mean he's right for me? Who knows?
I would say every day or every night that you spend with this guy, and without knowing where you stand and what he really wants out of this, is a day that you're wasting that you could be meeting other people who are better for you as a better fit. Very true. That's it. If this was a normal situation in real life, I would say, look, don't let a guy come and live with you you're not committed to. You must have known this is just going to be a bit of fun, really. You must have known that. Yeah.
I mean, when he actually said he was coming to London, my first thought was, okay, well, I'm not going to see you because the person he might in 2 years go to Singapore. So I thought, I'm not even going to waste my time in starting something if there's going to be no longevity. Then he said, yeah, but Hall, I'm fed up of restarting my life in different cities. I now want to settle. I now know what I want. I want a relationship. So he said, let's go.
With you or just a relationship?
A relationship, but he cares a lot about me. And So he said, let's go baby steps with dating, but we can't really date because we're in the same house. Do you know what I mean?
That's what he said to you.
Yes. Yeah.
You can't date because you're in the same house.
No, well, no, he didn't say that. Before, so last week we did go for dinner and drinks a few times before the lockdown, which was good because we tend to have sort of more open conversations.
Right. Now, I think that's complete nonsense. And it's a trap that many married couples get into as well. Because dating should not stop just because you're married or living together. What happens if you don't date? You get into routines and you get into ruts where you're bored out of your mind doing the same thing. And lockdown's not going to help that. But if you're living together, you're in the same bubble, you can absolutely go for walks together, go and explore places, go to the supermarket and do
We have
things.
been doing that, actually. We have been walking
That's
to
good.
the beach and stuff like that. But he is completely consumed with his work.
Right. This guy is emotionally unavailable, and he's unavailable generally because he wants to think about his job before you. Like you said to me before, you're not his priority. And normally, I would say if it's just been 2.5 weeks, then why should you be his priority? Because the other priorities in life, and be friends and family, should take priority to start with. But this has been 3.5 years, really.
Kind of, yeah.
This guy should know what he wants. Now, it's what you do next is the important thing. And you can't really just kick him out and say, look, do you want to be with me or not? If you don't want to be with me, then leave. You can't do that. You're too nice. No. You still want to be friends with him.
Well, I don't know.
What's the end in sight for you? What happens if he doesn't? What's the end game here, Holly?
We either try, or I think I'd rather cut it completely.
Yeah. Does he have any plans at the moment to move out at all?
Well, this is what I keep asking him every day. I'm like, Alex, when you move into London, I said, because it's like my house and it would be nice to know because I've got decorating and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, well, yeah, but it would be good to know because I like to be organized. Yeah, I'll think about it. And this is the same conversation every day.
Yeah.
For the last couple of days, which is frustrating me actually, because that's a little bit disrespectful.
The longer this goes on, then the more difficult it's going to be to get him to move out. It really is. It's going to be difficult. You need to have this conversation with him as soon as you can about what he wants out of all this. And giving you the whole baby steps, I want to take this slowly. How slowly is 3.5 years? Really?
True, actually.
If you were just happy to have a bit of fun for now, because you're a bit bored, you can't do anything else, then that's absolutely fine. But your feelings and emotions obviously massively involved here. And he's messing with your brain every single day. And it's stopping you being the person you want to be. And it's stopping you being truly happy. And it's confusing you. And you can't move on. And you're stuck in a rut now. This is what's happening. So you've got to get yourself out of this rut. And hopefully this podcast now, this call with me, is the thing that you need to get you out of this. There is hope here. It doesn't sound to me that he's completely disinterested, and he's not going to. He won't necessarily say to you, "I don't want anything," and that's the end of it. I think he is confused. He's just complacent. He's just happy the way things are, and he's happy the way things are because he has not got to commit. He does not need to commit at all, does he?
You are very right. And the thing is that I want someone to be assertive, to take control, to be the one that says, "Oh, let's give this a go." A man, not a boy.
If you start doing it, it becomes a bit needy. And if you're chasing him all the time and doing things for him, you said to me before, you aren't being selfish enough. You've got to look after yourself. You're the one that's important here. You've got to live with yourself forever. That's it. You live with yourself. You just bought a place and someone's living there, taking up your space. If they're going to take up space in your home, they've got to be worth it. They've got to be the one. This guy's just a distraction as far as I can see. But I would have the conversation with him very soon. So, okay, when do you think you have this conversation with him? This is how I do my coaching. If this was real coaching, I would make you do it now, or at least write down the list and tell me what you're doing in the next hour. But I'm not going to put that pressure on you. But you tell me what you want to do.
Definitely this weekend.
Okay. Because
the reality is, with my schedule today, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
I would do it. I'd go for a walk somewhere and then spring it on him and say that to him. So if you do have an argument over this, or it doesn't go the way you want it to go, then at least you can come back to your home. You don't have arguments in your home, anything negativity. Then you can always be positive back where you live again. You can have a whole refresh. But I think you absolutely do need to speak to him this weekend. Tell him what's on your mind. So I want to clear the air here and say, this is what I'm thinking. I've got feelings for you. If it's not reciprocated, or it never will be, then I think we should just cut it off now. That's it.
Yeah.
And it sets you free to meet someone.
What would you recommend if I ask, what are we? And he says, I don't know. What would you recommend me do then in that situation?
I would say, well, after 3.5 years, what are your thoughts?
Okay, fair.
Yes, I don't know. He said to you, what do you want? He might throw it back at you. That's what guys tend to do. And then you have to be honest, because nothing to lose. Let's assume that you tell him how you really feel, and he said, well, I'm not really interested. Then at least you're going to know you haven't wasted any more of your life on this.
Yeah.
And if he wants to make it work, then let him make it work. But this baby steps business, okay, understandably, he's living with someone he doesn't really know that well for 2.5 weeks. So it is getting to know each other. But the fact that you're in bed and getting intimate and doing all fun things means that is just having the cake and eat it for him, as far as I'm concerned. And it's probably you making the cake, I expect, as well. That's the only thing.
I don't know. It's just emotionally confusing.
It's confusing because you're making it that way. It doesn't need to be. Okay. The easiest thing to do is speak to him about this. If he asks you what you want, you say, well, I do like you. I want us to be a couple and try and make this work over the long term. But I don't really see that you want that or how that's going to work. If we have got to do that, we've got to write a plan down. I actually write down a plan, maybe a 3-year plan of what you're going to do. If he's planning to go off to some other country in 6 months' time or 6 weeks' time, then no, not interested. Sorry, goodbye. End of story.
Exactly.
You might say, I'm going away for 6 weeks. I might come back in the summer and we can carry on. No. Because you'd have met someone better who is more deserving of you by that stage. But obviously you have got a bond here and you do like each other. So there's nothing to lose by just seeing what he says. Because if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, at least you're free to go and meet someone amazing, which is what you deserve. But every second, every hour that you don't have this conversation, you're going to get more and more resentful towards him. And there's no chance of making it work anyway. So obviously bottling these feelings up. And bottled, unmet expectations are what causes breakups at the end of the day anyway. And you can do better than that. I know that you can talk. I know you can do this. I know you're a smart lady. You can do these things. Just be strong and realise that there are plenty of other guys out there who would love to meet you. Even in Wales, even in lockdown, there are guys everywhere. And I think you need to go back on the apps and do what you can and start conversations. Yeah,
well, to be honest, I'm not even interested, like in meeting other people, because I'm the thing with me, I'm always happy on my own. But if I can meet a partner in crime that shares the same things as me, then that's great.
Yes.
Which is what I have with Alex. But apart from that, I'm never bored on my own. There's always things to do.
Of course, that's absolutely the right attitude. But then if you've got that self-love, that self-confidence, and that self-belief, and you know these things anyway, then why on earth are you letting this guy mess you around?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm more emotionally invested than I realised.
Exactly. And that's what I'm thinking now from this conversation.
Yeah.
But we've gone over time here. I know that you're busy. You have to go back to work.
Yeah.
Don't want to leave you on a cliffhanger here, but I'd like you to email me next week and tell me what happens, or message me as we do normally and tell me what's been going on so I know. Because maybe there'll be a part 2 to this at some point, if you like to, on the podcast, and tell me what happens. Because I'm sure my listeners would love to know what happens to you next. But be strong, do what you have to do, and don't let anybody dictate to you or mess you around. It's your time, your life. Your life could last another week for all you know. You don't know. Make the most of it and do things that happen. We don't know how long we've got. Holly, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the dating coaching and found it useful. I won't charge you my normal fee, so don't worry. But I appreciate it. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon.
I'll keep you updated.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to give you a free copy of my latest book, which you can download right now from my website, jamespreece.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could share the love by taking a few seconds to write a positive review on the iTunes store right now. See you next time.